All right, we are back with another episode of Journey to More. My guest today, well, let me just pause a little bit because I tell you a lot about my guest, but like this one needs a little more explanation here, right? We have Stephen Mitchell with us, and he's a motivational mindset and money maneuvers coach. So he gets your mind right and your money right, right? He's a serial entrepreneur. His goal is to help people shift into thinking in the direction of their lives that's going to give them a monetary insight, instructing them on how to leverage their employment or to attain their financial goals by equipping individuals with the necessary tools to make their personal end game a reality. Y'all, we're not talking about goals here. We're living goals. And so we brought the guru himself, Stephen Mitchell, to the I Am and More community to just talk about his journey to more. Y'all know me, I'm the entrepreneur's attorney and business strategist where I help you start, structure, and grow your businesses while legally protecting your profits, your brand, and your business. Don't just make millions. Make sure you don't lose them, y'all.
Amen. Amen.
And did I do you justice, Stephen?
Oh, I appreciate it. Fine, beautiful, wonderful introduction. I'm quite honored and happy to be here. So, yeah, I love it.
Okay, so I want to start us off just like what does making money moves with like the right mindset mean to you?
Yeah, so again, thanks for being here, right? Making money moves with the right mindset. What does that mean to me? For me, it's all about one, having a foundation, right? There is a
Okay.
basic foundation that you need with money, right? A lot of us have trauma with money. We didn't see people with it, didn't know how to use it, spend it, have it, control it, invest it, etc. So a lot of that foundational basics need to be established, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I find that, but then once that's established, the next thing that I think you need to have is a can do spirit or a can do mindset, a mindset that says, I can do this. And really a mindset that says, all right, whatever the possibilities are, I have the capability to demonstrate those in the earth. So,
Ooh, that's good.
yeah, and that's what we're doing with our mind is when we have the money, let's get the foundation right. But once you got that foundation, now it really becomes how big do you dream to be, because you can be as big
Mhm.
as you dream to be.
So one of the things that we would have to focus on and make sure we have, and I'm looking at the live your dream right now, you actually have to have the right dream in order for you to have the right money. So if you haven't unlocked and built that foundation to have the right dream, to think the right thoughts about your dream and that you can do it, your money may never change. Ah, okay, okay. So then, why is earning or increasing our earning potential important?
Increasing your earning potential is important. It really ties to, again, what that dream is, what that plan is, right? And if you have big plans, you need big earnings, you need big income to really execute on those plans. And really, everyone needs to really dig into their own why. Like, why is this important for you? Why do you want to make money? And you need to ask yourself a minimum of 7 whys. Why do I want to make money? Okay, I want to make more because I want nice things. Why do I want nice things? Well, I want nice things because I want my family to have nice things. Why do I want my family to have nice things? I want my family to have nice things because growing up, I feel like if I would have had more of these things, and there would have been less arguments, and we could have had a more enjoyable family experience. You need to keep digging into why. Why do you want to have extra money? Because having money is a responsibility. It's not just a reward, it's also a responsibility. And so once we get that, once we understand our why, we can really go and attack and move with the confidence, with the boldness, with the mindset that, okay, I can do this because I have a strong enough why that keeps pushing me towards earning more, getting more, learning more, and list goes on.
Okay. Okay, so I'm about to push the envelope a little bit because I think about people, the number of people that I know that want to start businesses. And I know you're faith based. So I see so many people who are like, yeah, I want to start a business, I want to do this, but they don't move. What is the mindset block of keeping people from moving to a place of accessing their next level of more, which probably means more income and more money?
Yeah, I feel like the block that a lot of us deal with, and everybody deals with it at some level, but I feel like it really is almost a perfectionism sort of block. Hey, I want
Mm,
this to be perfect. I want this to be. I want to do things well, which is a good thing. It's a good thing to want to do things well. However, um, wanting to do things well and do them excellently can't be done without doing the thing. And so we get right, we get so caught up. Okay, I gotta have it perfect. Well, you don't even really know what perfect is until you get out there and start getting feedback from people on what
mhm.
perfect looks like for them, because our goal really is to serve people, is to serve the customer, is to serve the plate of food, whatever. If you're just in the back making 1,000 plates and you haven't served any of them, it's like you're sitting here spending all your time trying to get perfect when
So
really you're not gonna know what people like until you serve something and get that feedback. So we get caught up on trying to be perfect, and we got to stop that. We got to get into what I call the joy of starting. Right. I was in a meeting a few months back, and a guy told me, he said, you really should be helping people with the joy of starting. And because starting things is my superpower. Hey, let's start. Hey, let's go. Let's move. And what I've found is that when you can start and you start to get that feedback, you do
mhm.
start to perfect the thing, because you do want to serve folks well, but you don't want to leave folks out of the conversation when you're trying to perfect it. And so many of us have to just start. We've got to move imperfectly in order to get the thing that we want to do so well, to be perfect, to be better, right, later on.
So an imperfect start is better than no start. I want
Ab-
everybody like to catch that. An imperfect start is better than no start. And
Absolutely.
let's just do a quick hot seat, right?
Yep.
Let's take me for example, and I want to do me a year ago,
Mhm.
where I had all of the skills, I had all of the talent, I had all of the knowledge, and I was crippled with the fear of really getting out there because it was like, what if I fail? So then, how would you talk to one of your clients who may come to you like, I can't start no business on Turo? What if they do this? What if this? What if this? All the what ifs. You asking us why, and I'm going through what ifs. How do you help somebody like that?
Yep, yep. You say that's exactly what you want. You want to fail. And
Ooh.
it's yeah, you want to fail, because if you can fail, then you can really learn, okay, not just the lesson in failure, but you can learn, okay, these tweaks, these things is what caused me to fail. Let me go do it again. So this was a buzzword many years ago in entrepreneurial and business spaces, was fail fast, fail forward, right? And the reason it was so impactful is because what we found is that innovation, when you make something better, and we're in a world now that things are innovating very quickly. You
Mhm.
got Facebook, what it was when we first got on it to what it is now is completely different. They've innovated. And it goes back to, and I could, point to several different examples, Turo as well, right? There's always going to be changes. And if you're not failing forward, then you're just not a part of the change. You're not a part of the wisdom and the learning that failure brings. So we got to rethink failure. We think failure is a problem. Think of it when you were in school taking a test. You took a test and you failed, and it's like, oh man, this is a problem. And this is where some of this bad thinking comes from: is us trying to prove ourselves in school settings and stuff. We're so scared of failure because the failure was a big F. But the best thing about that is that once you get that F, you now know exactly where the wrong answers are.
So good.
Because now that you know the wrong answers, all right, I can hope, with a test is a little bit easier. The right answer is typically the other choice. But in life, you get that much more closer to the right answer. And that iterative process, we're always changing. And if we can get in that process, it helps development, right? Because development for a kid, for anything, it's a continual changing for relationships. And why we want to get conditioned into that is because it's going to happen. Your business is going to change. The industry is going to change. We're using video right now. Maybe in 2 or 3 years, it's going to be 3D images, and it's like we're in the same room. Things are going to continue to change. And if you get so caught up in, no, it has to be this way, because if it's not, and if it fails, you won't know what to do with failure until you get conditioned. I know what to do with failure. Failure doesn't scare me anymore. Failure doesn't intimidate me. Come on, failure, because I know that the more failure I have, the more I'm going to get to a win. So you got to break down that fear and rip it of its power. Failure doesn't scare me. And in my businesses and in the multiple things I do, failing. I just had a call early this morning. It's like, man, that was, I was getting some money set up for a thing and I didn't get the answer I wanted. We're probably going to be raising like let's call it $900,000, and I was hoping this one group would be able to give me that, and they said no, we're not going to be able to do it that way. So it's like, man, because I woke up this morning thinking I'm going to get this good news, and I can check that off the box and go do something else. But that was a failure in a sense, but it doesn't scare me. Okay, now I have to rethink and go and still solve the problem, just solve it in a different way. But my body, my mind, my entrepreneurship muscle is conditioned in that way where now, failure doesn't scare me. I'll be all right. We're still going to get it done
Listen,
with a
listen.
smile.
That right there is a mic drop. Do you see why he talks about money and motivation? Because you really can't have one without the other. And the lesson that you've helped us to unpack around failure and being able to embrace what's coming, being able to embrace knowledge. That's really what I'm hearing. Like when we don't get the level of success that we want, like let's stop even calling it failure. We no longer get the level of success that we want. We get the opportunity to deal with the problem in a unique way. And y'all know I used to be a teacher, so I'm going back to like the days in math. I would tell my kids, like, where is your work?
Mm-hmm.
So if you are going through a process, you always want to be documenting what you're doing and studying the data of what you're doing so you could know what worked and what didn't work. Because, like, with me in my own life, I would be like, I wasn't successful. Somebody was like, do you realize you just did blank, 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 and blank?
Yep.
I'd be like, but I didn't get that. And it's just like, no, I had to get my mind right around what was happening. And I think, you've been in this entrepreneurial space for so long. I think sometimes there has been this hype of quick success. How do you kind of navigate that when you're working with people? I know I have to navigate it as well, but what's your approach?
Yeah, my approach is to help people think long term. I heard this said once. I think Tony Robbins said it. We overestimate what we can do in a year, and we underestimate what we can do in a decade. So we don't think long term. We're thinking about, oh, I gotta get to 1 million this year, and okay, that's great. There's nothing wrong with aggressive goals, but what about getting to 100 million in a decade? Like if we think a little bit long term, we have goals that then grow with us, and patience, resilience are key characteristics for entrepreneurs. And so learning how to be patient with yourself, with your goals, with what you have on the horizon really is, again, something you need to learn, because it's going to come back up, right? If you're really driven to succeed, you're going to be faced with patience again. You're going to be faced with it again. So let's develop that now, and let's get very clear about where we want to be and what success looks like, and then we won't be in such a rush. If you rush it many times, this is almost with anything. If you rush it, you almost ruin it. If you rush it, you ruin it, right? Let's if you rush it, you ruin it. Like, let's not rush it. Let's really get the learnings that we need to get and be patient enough with ourselves to do what? Enjoy the journey. I'm already successful. The me being on the journey makes me successful. It's not the destination. It's my spirit, it's my mind, it's my resilience. All these things is what these are the things that are exciting. These are the things that are rich. These experiences of taking a punch and still being able to keep going, dodging, all this here is this that's the fun part. The fight, right? The fight is what everyone wants to see. At the end of the fight, okay, that's fine. We want to see the next fight. So that the journey is the fun thing. Don't rush it or you ruin it.
Woo, bars. So we know that you've done a lot, but when you were first starting out in your entrepreneurial journey, what motivated you to become an entrepreneur and
Yeah,
take that big leap?
yeah. For me, I've always been fascinated by business and making money and that sort of thing. It fascinated me. And I didn't know why, but as I've come to find out, I'm interested in solving problems. I'm a person that, family members call saying, "Hey, I can't get the Netflix to work." Or did you do this? Did you do that? Or this technology. So I'm not, I have brothers and sisters that are more naturally talented. But because I think some of my upbringing and all that, I've had to always work and learn things. I'm the youngest of four. I've tried to okay, let me learn what's going on here. So I've always been consuming information, and many times it's about, okay, how do I solve this problem? And so I know I had a natural affinity for solving problems. And then at some point I began to tie the two together, like, oh, entrepreneurship is really solving problems. And yeah, and then I learned also in working for people that there was always like an itch that wasn't being scratched. Someone would ask me to do something for work, right? And it'd be like, okay, I can do that, but then I'd come with some off the wall crazy idea, thinking at it from a totally different angle, and they were like, no, I just want you to do this. And so I realized that there was also a part of me that needed to be stretched more, that I wasn't fulfilled just with my job, right? I love my job. It does stretch me in some ways, and I've had jobs throughout my entrepreneurial journey, but I was like, I can do more. So to really tap into my potential, it's like I got to tap into entrepreneurship. I got to solve other type problems. And so I've constantly written ideas, thought through things and thought, okay, if we solve a problem here, we can make money. I'll still keep my job, but I want to, on my time, be able to really tap into, the entrepreneurial journey, which is it's just more rewarding because there are a lot of rewards that come with working with others and being a part of something big in yourself, being part of big organizations. I like that. I don't knock that. I think a lot of entrepreneurs do, but I think there's also something to doing it yourself or learning for yourself and solving problems for others in that way. So that's kind of what inspires me to keep going with entrepreneurship.
No, I think that's so good. And I think, one of the things that we sometimes miss is the fact that like we can do this and that. Our mentor Dr. Darius Daniels talks about that all the time, but
Yes.
so many times we have so much information coming towards us, or we have so many people telling us the route to go. And I always say, like, great, you have a dream down on the inside of you, and there are people waiting on it, but you have to go to God for the strategy on how to unleash it. And
Right.
so many
Man.
times we get crowded by someone else's voices. I was talking to a young woman the other day, and she was like, well, so and so told me this, so and so told me this. And it was a discovery call. And I was just like, okay, do I have permission to coach you? She was
Yeah.
like, yeah. I was like, if I could share anything with you, take what you have down on the inside of you and what you're thinking, all the great things, and take that to God.
Yeah.
Don't go with what the talent agent is saying. Don't go with what this is saying, because you will miss your God opportunity for something that sounds good.
That's right. That's good.
And
Don't miss
so you
trying
could
to
have
get.
been further along. Who knows what could have happened in your life because you went after something good, but you didn't go after the thing that was God.
Woo, that's good.
So, like it's just so many things that we have to think about as we're transitioning our mind and our money for more. And so when you go into these opportunities, because you're a serial entrepreneur, how do you identify a good business opportunity for you to pursue?
Well, I like what you're saying though about the God thing, because we are believers, and you know, like you said, our mentor has helped us be okay, get comfortable with this and that.
Hmm.
And that's something I deal with daily. Like I'm all about, like, I'm all about this idea that I've not arrived, right? That I'm not at the final stop, and that I don't know it all. And so I very much embrace the idea that, yeah, even what you just were saying is speaking to me, because I've got ideas coming at me all the time. I've got things, opportunities coming at me all the time. And it's like, yeah, God, this looks good, but what do you want me to do? God, this sounds good, but what do you want me to do? So getting that connection with God, and it's not always that clear. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Let's go. And then I have to wait till later to be like, all right, God, did you really want me doing that? Right? Is this what I'm supposed to be on? But it's at least knowing that I need to have that communication with God that's saying, lead me, guide me. And then here's another thing that, my brother, my oldest brother is the pastor of our church back home that my father started. And I remember a long time ago, I asked my brother, I said, how do we hear from God? How do we know it's God? And he gave me a scripture that I've heard Dr. Darius use. And I don't know exactly the reference right now, but it says basically, my sheep know my voice, and the strangers they will not follow. And so, and I don't even remember our full conversation. This was many years ago. I was probably, late teens. But ever since he said that, it always stuck with me. And what it did for me, it also gave me a sort of faith that
Yeah.
I'm walking in a way where I believe that I hear God's voice. So I'm going to make a decision. I'm not going to be paralyzed, right? I'm not going to sit and just, no, at some point I'm going to make a decision. I think some of us get in the habit of, well, I'm just praying. Well, look, it don't take that long to pray. You've been praying for 37 months. If you don't make a decision. So when good opportunities come to me, when other opportunities come to me, I look at them, but I'm also evaluating internally that, okay, I hear God. I know God. God leads me. I believe that. And so when I decide yes or no to a thing, it's with that thinking in mind. And then all the time, every day, I'm cultivating that, reading the Bible, listening to preachers, singing worship songs, getting around good counsel, meeting smart people, like-minded people. And so these things God is using to help cultivate certain opportunities and things into my life. And then the last thing I'll say about it is that, you know, our coach, Dr. D, has been very impactful in terms of getting clear. Clarity is so
Mhm.
important. And I love, he preached something on Sunday, and he said, when the devil, when the enemy of our lives, I'll say that to be a little less, church talky, but when the enemy of our lives can't corrupt us, then he tries to steal our clarity. And that really hit me, because I'm like, this confusion and this not knowing, some of that stuff is just the enemy trying to throw us off. And
Yes.
yeah, And when we get clear, and a lot of times you can find somebody that can speak into you. Like you said, you're doing discovery calls with people. That said, that might be the thing. Those God using us to speak into people's lives is sometimes the direction that we need to keep going and to do the next thing. So my but anyway.
Nah, you're talking good. You're talking good because I remember years ago, he said something. Pastor Darius Daniel said something so powerful. He said, in the Bible, it says the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Sure, yeah.
And he said, and what if it's in that order? And I was just
Mhm.
like, ooh. And
Yeah.
that was like one of the craziest mindset shifts that I
Mm.
ever had because now I started to operate on with the mindset and the thought process of like, what is he trying to steal from me? What
Mm.
is he trying to steal from me? And then I go back to the beginning of the Bible when he stole the original, like when he, through that deceitful act, he stole what was really supposed to happen with Adam and Eve.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that stemmed from like what was in their environment and what they allowed to I don't want to say convolute. Give me a better word. See, give me a better word to like
No, that's it.
contaminate what they allowed to contaminate truth.
Exactly. And it was one tree contaminated. You got a whole garden, but you let one tree, and it's that one thing that keeps trying to throw off your clarity, that one thing that keeps trying to throw you off course. And it's like, no, I have abundance around me. It's starting from a place that maybe I do know something. Maybe I am valuable. Maybe God does talk to me. Maybe some of my intuition, my gut is, and my instincts are on point. And it's almost like the enemy tries to start us out on the opposite. Oh, do I really know what I'm doing? Do I? Oh, and you all scared and timid. It's like, no, you know what you're doing. You got God. So we
Listen, listen. I don't know. Somebody probably just sitting there getting smacked in their hair right now. You know what you're doing. You got God. So one of the key things you just said, and one of the things that you're continuing to talk about is belief, 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 belief. So how do we build up our belief systems to believe we are the people that can do the thing?
Yeah. This is where I think the people around us matter a ton, right? We're now talking to each other and I'm getting energy from you. You're getting energy from me. It's a spirit of belief, a spirit of positivity, of I can do spirit really is cultivated when you're in an environment like that. The people around you, the conversations you're having, the things you're watching on IG, on TikTok. Some of these things sublim because 95% of what we're doing is subconscious anyway, right? So what do you need to be getting around you that's making you believe in yourself versus you're not? And it's like, why am I not? Well, let's check. What are you listening to? What are you repeating out of your mouth? What voices have credence, or what voices are you allowing to have positions in your head? And that's the thing for me. When I'm on the phone with my boy, they already know we're gonna kick the bobos some and laugh, and we might talk a little bit about the news, but I don't want to talk about the news that much. I don't want to talk. I just don't. I don't want to talk about the shade room that much. Just like, all right, I don't even want to now. At the end of the week, sometimes I'll look through and I'll see some funny stuff, but I'll be 2 to 3 days behind because everything that I'm trying to do, I need belief for. I need motivation. I need inspiration. I need money talk. I need networking talk. I need that strong stuff around me. So, you know, that's what I try to do is the network. That's where getting in the right room and being around the right people and making the right connections, it changes so much because when we're young and coming up, we're in classrooms, we're meeting a lot of different people. Once we hit a certain age, once we graduate school, if you went to school, then the amount of new people you're meeting drastically decreases. You're just not meeting that many people as you were early on in life. And so you have to be very intentional about getting around the right type of people. And that's what I love about the rooms we're in, and the rooms I see other folks like us getting in, is because that is what's establishing the base level of our belief system, of our belief system. That now is like, oh, I can do that. I'm seeing her do it. I'm seeing him do it. I'm seeing them do it. And because what we see, what we're exposed to, a lot of times it becomes what we believe is possible for us.
Listen, the life you can see for yourself is the life you will truly live. And I think sometimes I've had to be very blunt with people who are like, oh, I'm living through you. I was like, you don't have permission to live through me. You don't. You have permission to live your life. I don't care what age you're at. One of the things that I am like most excited about is that some of the women that I've helped start businesses are in their 60s,
Yes.
making money, feeling fulfilled, living their dream.
Yes.
They did not know it was possible. But guess what? At 60, they decided that I'm good enough to go after it. So, like, what's the excuse for the millennial? What's the excuse for the other person? And, one of the things that I also say, and I want to hear your thoughts on it, is sometimes we think when we have a great job, that is our security plan. And in reality, and then we won't take the step on the things that we're good at, even as a side hustle, because we had that security plan. But the same way that job could let you go at any moment, because they could even let the CEO go because of the board. Like,
Yep.
nothing is secure unless you're operating in God's will for your life. And so you don't take the the leap of faith to trust and believe in you, to trust and believe in your God. So you sit there in a comforting place. And sometimes you're not even comforted. You have money, but you have no peace.
Mm.
You have money, but you have no freedom.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Your bills are paid, but you're not able to experience life. You're existing.
Yep.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that is something that a lot of professional people deal with. They are so comfortable, um that it's made them timid. And we have this thinking, many of us that have corporate jobs, that we're still like 1 year out of college, and we're still, we have no experience, because many of them haven't looked at their resumes in a long time. So they've kind of forgotten what all the experiences they've gained. They don't even realize how powerful, how valuable, how much knowledge they have that they can add to an organization or to the entrepreneurial world. So they become timid because they've never taken the risk, when actually they're in the best position to take risk. You have the best safety net ever. If you completely quit, you've likely got 401ks, you've got all types of security blankets. And so that's the thing that and I do like the quote that says, that salary is what they pay you to make you forget your dream. And that is true if you allow it to be true. If not, if you allow that salary to be the thing that pushes you, that says, okay, this is just my first base level of investment. This is what I use to put my bills on autopilot, and everything else I use to invest into my real potential. And we've got to we people have they've got to hear us talk. They've got to get a spark, because they're just too comfortable. And to your point, they don't really have freedom, because even some of the guys making millions of dollars, if you can't get up and say, and that's why they get frustrated, because I'm making $200 million a year or whatever, or 30 million every season, and I can't get up and say what I want to say. There's a muzzle on my mouth. And so it irks them. It gets to, because could you imagine having millions of dollars and you still feel like you a slave?
Yep.
You don't have that freedom of expression. And so entrepreneurship, being your own boss in that way, because we forget that these guys are still employees. Like a lot of these major athletes, a lot of these
Yeah.
they're employees. Many times they're not really the one that is signing the check, right? They may be getting it, but when you're signing the check, there's a different level of freedom. When you're signing the check, there's a different level of power. You can say what you want to say without being fear of being reprimanded. And so that's the power of entrepreneurship. That's why folks say the revolution is in business. The revolution is entrepreneurial, because look, that's the freedom that can take us to, just doing what others want us to do for money, right? A high paid slave, as some would say, to actually having power of voice and being able to affect change. Because hey, I cut my own checks, I'm not one that pushes folks to quit their jobs. I'm just saying maximize, leverage your job. Leverage means to use to the maximum advantage. You've got a job and you're not even using it to the maximum advantage. Some people could promote themselves right now just from their 10 years that they've been with this job, if they just went and updated their LinkedIn profile. There's a ton of people that want your experience. And it comes from the thing that somewhere deep, we still don't think we're valuable. Somewhere deep, we still don't think we're worthy. Somewhere deep, we're still not believing in ourselves. Somewhere deep, we're still lying to ourselves or letting those lies get in. That self-talk is too negative, right? And it's when we start believing in ourselves, oh, I'm not afraid to take a risk. I'm not afraid to take a leap. Are you kidding me? Like we said before, we have God with us. And when we start to really get that, it's like, oh, I can do more than what I've done. And it doesn't mean I have to, throw the job to the curb, but make sure that job is working for you too. You add value there. You don't just have to accept anything. If they're taking too much of your time, if they're not giving you any autonomy, if you don't really have a voice, if you're not really getting appreciated and celebrated, start looking for somewhere else or go start your own thing, because you deserve it. And you are powerful. And many folks, you're not just starting out. You're not still green behind the ears. You know what to do. You know you could run that whole department yourself. You know you could, run the whole HR, whatever department you in. Like we got to talk to ourselves. And this is where the motivation comes in. Is we have to talk to
It's here.
ourselves. What did the lady say that came and spoke to us? I just act like I was who God said I was, right?
Ooh.
I just started to act like I was who God said I was, and that's when things started to change.
Listen, okay, so we not gonna keep, just bopping people upside the head, but I gotta do this one last bop. Let me tell you why I gotta do this one last bop. Because I was listening to this life class on YouTube. Because, like you said, like I'm building my belief system constantly. And the man of God said, timidity and shyness is false humility rooted in pride. Because you do not focus and believe what God said about you.
That's it.
Like, ugh.
Got to be erased. It's got to be dealt with. That timidity, it's not it. That's not it. And you know what? I think it's especially not it for our generation. And I don't hate on what past generations had to deal with and go through, and some of that stuff we learned from them. But it's like we got to realize we got the wheel now. We got the baton now. And I was trying to make sure, I kept a roof over our head and all this, but away with that. We're there now. Those folks made those sacrifices. So it's now time for us to set a new standard. And I'm really excited because I believe that's what we're doing. We're doing that with this podcast. We're doing that with our daily life to say, look, even with the man who spoke there, That timidity and shyness that's not the will of God for us. And once we start to realize that, you can be humble still. I mean, you got to be arrogant. You can be humble still, but you ain't got to walk around, sabotaging your own self. It's over for that.
It's over for that. Okay. Um, I'm gonna say this last thing, and then I want you to just jump in with your final thoughts and the things that you have going on and how people can connect with you even further. I had the opportunity to sit under Bishop George Bloomer recently. And one of the things he broke down was in the Bible, there's something where it says, like, God will get you to the third and fourth generation. I'm quoting it. I ain't no preacher. Go read the Bible. That's all I gotta say. But what he was the thing that he impressed upon the room, which was filled with millennials, was we're the generation that has survived the cursed years from God. And so we walk with a level of freedom that we're unaware of. And we're choosing to be bound. So exactly what you just said is what he said. And so for those of us in that age range, we have to wake up to who we are and live in our power and our purpose because we're free. And if we're not free, we have made the choice to be bound.
Wow.
I'm passing it back to you.
Woo! Man, that's so good. That is exactly, and that's a confirming word. That's exactly where we are. And, my thing would be just get around like-minded people. Get around like-minded people because you need to be exposed to this. You need to be exposed to it. We're accepting lies. We're accepting drama. We're accepting, foolishness. And a lot of that stuff is feeding negativity. When every time you get on the news and you see something negative, now all of a sudden you have a tilt towards negativity. You are more like, oh, things ain't gonna work out. Oh, it's not gonna be what it is. Oh. And so that you gotta just put up some guardrails, and it starts with getting the right people around you. Get around the right people. Follow me on Stephen Motivate. Follow Jamila. Get anything we doing, connect with it. You like it, it touches you, like it, share it. Because we're on a mission. We've got to get this stuff out. We've got to get this thinking changed. And it's less about the money. Like PD would say, the money is not even in the top 5 of what's going to fulfill us. But what is impact. Impact is up there. Impact is up there. Our health is up there. Our mindset is up there. When we get those things right, we're going to have more joy, more happiness, more fulfillment than money could ever do. And I tell people this, like, you're going to get the money. For those of us that's kind of already in our circles, and you're going to get it. So don't stop even questioning that. The thing you need to be thinking about is what's next after that. What's next? The 100 million's in the account. Now what's next? And so when you start to think about those things, let's not forsake the other things that we need to really live a fulfilled life. Let's make sure we're connecting with our parents, our loved ones. Let's make sure we know how to, who we need to connect with and who we need to cut off. Let's learn these things because you're going to be successful. But there's a weight that comes with winning. There's a responsibility that comes with every reward. And that's why we're trying to build ourselves up, be around the right people. And we just encourage y'all to do the same. Get around the right people. Y'all can find me at Stephen Motivate on all social media platforms. We're talking about money. We want you to get it and all that. But in addition to that, make sure you get around the right people and you're getting yourself right and your mind right, because this is more than just money. We are changing a generation.
Well, there is nothing else to say. It is more than just money. We are changing a generation. And if you have not already done so, you should be typing in Stephen Motivate on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all the places. And even and I love your branding because that's another missed thing, but I'm not going to go there. That's not today. Thank you for pouring into this audience. Thank you for just being willing to share your story. I'm pretty sure we have other things that we're going to do in the future. Just two great like-minded individuals that's committed to awakening people to what is possible down on the inside of them.
That's right. Let's do it. Back to work.
Back to work. All right, y'all. See y'all later. It's been a great one.
Thanks.